one of his clients, I said. Okay.
We should be getting there. There we are.
Got it?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and potential Toastmasters. Welcome to the show. This is Wake Up with Toastmasters. I am your co-host, District 115 Club Growth Director, Ken Richardson. And with me today is my co-host, Distinguished Toastmaster, past District Governor, Phyllis Tribby. How are you doing this morning, Phyllis?
I am sensational. How's that word for today? Sensational. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. Ken, how are you doing? Have you got us set up on our Facebook page?
Yes, it looks like everything is up and running and doing well. So we are good to go. There's always a moment of terror where I think, oh my gosh, the technology isn't working the way I expect it to work. And then the very next question is, how do I fix it? But everything looks like it's working good today. We are live streaming on our Facebook page, so we can start a little bit talking about our topic today. And today, we're going to follow up on a discussion we started on Tuesday. And that was a discussion about work styles, personal styles, and how those relate to team building. Now, what we talked about was a model for determining your style, and there are four. There's analytical, there's driver, and then what are the other ones? Amiable, and then the other one is expressive. I knew I could come up with it. It took me a minute there. And there is a little test that you can take that will help you to determine the style that you have. And Phyllis, I understand you just recently took that test. What did you think of it?
Ken sent me everything, and I did take the test, and I was very interested. There were many questions on it that I couldn't decide where I wanted to put my numbers, because it's kind of like 1 through 4. 4 is, yep, that's me, and 1 is, no, not very much. And I couldn't decide. I mean, I fit all the categories. So when I totaled up my numbers, I got a 32, a 28, a 28, and a 32.
Wow.
And I am saying it's because of my age. I have been adjusting to people for 80 years. This is how you get along. You try and keep everybody happy.
So you got a 32 in analytical,
a
32 or a 28 in driver, a 28 in expressing.
I know the second one. What's the third one? Amiable, I think.
Amiable. So 28 in amiable and the 32 in expressive. Very good. Okay,
even
so
feel there.
Yeah, you know what? That means you're very well rounded. Whereas when I took the test, it was very much the first two. I was heavy in analytical and driver. The question is, however, Phyllis, see, I think you're more well-rounded than I am.
Try to get along.
Yeah, you have great balance there.
Counts.
So my question then is, do you think that taking that test provided some insight into how you interact with others? And would it change your behavior on a team building front?
I don't know whether I would change my behavior. Usually my behavior starts out with, see what's happening. You know, what are they talking about? Who's going to be participating? Am I going to get the information that I need? So it's kind of like sit back and relax. And then after the meeting continues on, if it's not progressing, then I go to one of my other portions, which means try and lead if possible, make some suggestions, start talking, and take up the slack.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a look at some of those work styles in just a moment, but I think that you and I have enough of experience.
Mhm.
We're sort of in the senior Toastmaster realm.
Amen to that.
That we've learned how to sort of read a room and adjust our styles for the betterment of the team. So I'm going to share our screen. I don't have a PowerPoint today.
Oh my.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is share with you, if I can find it, where'd it go?
At least put up the 4 categories.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Let's see, I had this. This is the thing that confuses me and drives me crazy. Hold on a minute here, because I had this all set up and now all of a sudden it's not where it should be. And I don't know why. So bear with me 1 second while I pull. It's so funny because I did this. Well, it's still not there. Where the heck is it? Wow. That just makes me nuts because I tested this. Let me pull this up. Before our show today, and
I could go pull it up on mine.
well, let me see what's going on here now.
Take it out of.
Okay, there it is. It
there,
popped
okay.
up as an option. Okay, now I'm going to share.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to talk about these 4, and we're going to talk about the preferences that are exhibited by the different styles, and the analytical or blue style, the driver or red style, the amiable or green, and the expressive or yellow. So we'll talk about these different styles, and there's some tips in this booklet that explains how we're perceived in each different style and the kinds of things that we can do to understand ourselves and understand the interaction of our team. And the theory behind that, of course, and the goal is to make sure that our team is maximally effective. So this will help us in team building and helping our team to move forward. All right, so the analytical style, these are my people. We are analytical, we look at data, we tend to be methodical, and I love this one in here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but we love a good spreadsheet. Yes, indeed. We were talking earlier about a comparative spreadsheet that helps us to look at data. And again, I want to remind our viewers that no one is like 100% analytical. If someone scored, totally in one category, it would be extremely odd, because all of us are a mix of these different categories. As I mentioned, you're much more balanced than I am, because I'm very heavy in the blue and red, the analytical and driver. But these are the things that characterize that analytical style. And I love this other analysis here, is that we may be perceived as never having fun, overanalyzing everything and being overly critical. So clearly, when you see the list here and some of the things that may be created by perception, you can't possibly be all one style. You're going to be a blend. You may be heavier on one category than another, one style compared to another, but you're not 100%. We are all a blend of different things. So that's the analytical, and the driver. We'll talk about these two before we move down. Is somewhat, I guess you could say, complementary to the analytical, but in some ways may be the opposite. The person who exhibits this strong characteristic, they're very quick thinkers. And see, I don't think of myself as a quick thinker, even though I scored high on this parameter. They lead with courage and drive. They answer questions before the question is finished, and they like to take action. They may be perceived as impersonal and pushy. They're very competitive and power hungry. See, I don't think that fits me. What do you think about these characteristics that now that you've gone through that, Phyllis? Is this right on, or how did you take this? Because I know you looked at the whole booklet.
I did. And, I think they pick pieces out that maybe don't necessarily pertain to that category. I wouldn't say, I had a 28 in driver, and, I'm not really, I'll take charge if I have to, if there's nobody doing the job. But, I'd like for other people to put their foot forward and see what their values are. Pretty good at delegating, yes. Private about personal matters. I wouldn't say that that's true. I think I talk a lot about myself. Most people know my story. So there are things that are listed that may not pertain to you personally. You're kind of on the side of it. Some of them, yes, this fits me. No, this doesn't fit me that well, but possibly could be worked in. Impersonal and pushy, absolutely. I don't think that belongs at all. As I say, I always like to have gentle persuasion. Those are my words, gentle persuasion. So I would not ever consider myself pushy.
Well, let's take a look at the other two. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. What I love about your analysis there, Phyllis, is that I also think you're very well balanced among these traits, because having known you for a number of years, I think that balance comes through in working with you. And that's very, very, it's very spot on, I think. So let's look at the amiable and the expressive. These were a little bit lower on mine, but you were, like I said, very well balanced when you took this test. If you're amiable, you're very compassionate, you're empathetic, you like to make decisions by committee, have a strong sense of belief and values, etc. But you may be perceived by others as too focused on relationships and feelings, and never makes decisions or speaks up, maybe too passive. So you scored what, a 28 on this, I think?
Yep, I got it. I got a 28 there. And yes, I do. I like the decisions to be made by the committee. I like it to be a general consensus rather than one person pushing their opinion. Shows concern for others' feelings. Yeah, but not as much as some people do. Never makes decisions or speaks up. See, that's not true. I like others to take the lead, but if they're not going to do the job, then yes, I will speak up, give my opinion, and try to lead people in my direction.
Yes, I can see that. And in my own analysis, I can also see myself where I have that same kind of thing. Well, I want to build consensus, but I do get frustrated if we're not progressing. And I want to jump in there and say, darn it, we have to stop thinking about it. We're overthinking. We've got the data. The data should drive our decision. Let's move on.
Yes, let's get this work done.
So we have Jennifer online. I want to say good morning to Jennifer. We're so glad that you joined us. Now, the last style to talk a little bit about is called expressive, or yellow. I don't know why they decided to go with different colors here and add that to the description, but okay.
It is a matter of, blue is kind of gets along and leads. Red is kind of pushy. Green is supposed to be, cool and relaxing. It's kind of the color chart for people that do feng shui.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I don't know anything about feng shui, but if you say so, I'm going to believe you. It does at least help our understanding.
Mhm.
Because again, I've taken over the years several, I guess you would call them personality tests or similar work style tests. The Myers-Briggs test is supposed to tell you about introversion and extroversion and all of that. And I think each of them contribute to our understanding of ourselves and of team dynamics and how we interact with others, but none is perfect. So I think I like this one because it's relatively simple. There are about 20 questions or so, I think, if I recall, that you answer. And we'll look at those if we have time today, but I want to continue to focus on the characteristics and how we work with one another. And the expressive is the last one to sort of look at this perspective. These are the creative and dynamic people. They love to engage and collaborate. They have vision and energy. And I have to say that I didn't really score very high on this. Like I said, I'm more methodical and analytical. So when I'm building a team, I want to make sure I have somebody who has these characteristics that can help me think outside of the box or get outside of myself. And, they bring this to the table. Some of the things that are issues maybe are perceived, they may be too focused on socializing. And I know people like this and I love them to death, but sometimes it's a little difficult to rein them in and say, hey, we need to focus on the task at hand. We're not here just to socialize, we're here to get something done. Talks more than listens and lacks follow through. And again, these are folks who are just have all that creativity flowing. And you can see, I hope our viewers can see, how filling your team with each type of style is going to make a stronger team, because you're going to get different perspectives. And those different perspectives, I think, will lead to better decisions. Would you agree with that, Phyllis?
I do. And say again, there are many things that fit the category for people, but there are many things that do not match your personality. So take it as it is. It's supposed to be an overall view.
Okay, so we talked about some of this the other day about primary focuses, problem solving versus results versus maintaining harmony and interaction. The things that we didn't get to, excuse me, were these things on the bottom of these charts, tips for communicating with each particular style. And that's the other piece of the puzzle, if you will, in organizing your team and understanding how to get the most out of your team. If you are, for example, an analytical blue thinker, or that's your style, here are some things that the team leader might want to understand about that style. You need to be systematic, thorough, precise, provide analysis and facts and evidence. That will help you deal with the analytical style. People that fit this pretty well, don't you, Phyllis, over yours? Do you think this is right on or no?
Yes, I think this is a great idea for working with that style, especially allowing the time for evaluation. Analytical thinkers need to evaluate what's happening, and you need to give them that time.
And you need to have confidence in the data. What is your source? What are you citing here? Is this data at all useful? How was it collected? Who published it? Those are the kinds of things that I often look for. When you're looking at the driver style, you look at these tips, you have to be clear, because these are the folks who want to make decisions fairly quickly. They want to get on, they want to move forward. They get easily frustrated with indecision. It's like, okay, let's make a decision and move on. We have other things. So you want to be clear and accurate. You want to be organized, focused on the task, and argue with facts, not feelings. That I found to be something that, I can relate to. I can understand why we need to have that. But I also recognize the importance of understanding and appreciating those feelings. Does this style, I know you kind of, the reason I keep going back to you, Phyllis, is I'm so impressed with the fact that you scored very close on all of these styles. That I think that gives you a really much more balanced perspective than what I have. So in this style, you were about a 28, did I?
Yes, 28.
Okay. What do you think about these tips for communication? Would this approach appeal to you as a member of a team?
Yes, as a member of a team, yeah, I'm always going to want to have concise, precise information. I don't want it to drag on. There's an old phrase, tell them what you're going to tell them what you need to tell them, and tell them what you told them. And that is not good for a driver. A driver wants concise information and then procedure. So yeah, tell me what you want me to know and let's get on with it. That's pretty much true of the driver.
Well, let's take a look. We'll scroll this down here at the amiable and expressive styles. Again, the amiable, maintaining harmony. That's their focus, is keep everybody happy. When you're communicating with this style on your team, you want to be relaxed and agreeable. You don't want to push. You want to give them some time. You want to be more social, more interactive. You still want to be logical and systematic and create a plan, but you know what? You need to take a little more time, I think, with the amiable person to balance that need for them to be sensitive to the process. Would you agree with that as well?
Yes, and it is difficult, I think, to get everything precise for the driver, but then don't push or rush with the amiable. It's tough to make it in between those two so that you are satisfying everyone's needs. But be a good listener, I think, works for all of the different styles.
I think you're right. And the amiable part of me, which I didn't score quite as high as you did on there, it is always, I'm avoiding conflict. I don't really like conflict. When I'm in a discussion, I go back to my analytical style, wanting the facts and the data to drive the discussion and the decision, where the green is a little bit more on the feeling side. And then last, of course, but not least, is the expressive style. If you want to do a good job communicating with this style, you want to be enthusiastic, you want to be open, but you also want to be flexible. Develop that relationship and share experiences. So this is the social style. Do you think this captures it?
Well, I got a 32 in this category. And
very high.
Can't be irritated by rules and routine.
Ah.
There is nothing worse than a newbie coming in and tells us, well, this is the way they say we're supposed to do it. How come we don't do it like this? And it's like, we got 8 members. Don't be, giving us rules that work for 30 members. Yeah, we could do everything wonderfully according to instructions if we had enough members. Right now, this is what we have, and this is how we do it until we get more players on our team. So yeah, can be irritated by rules and routine. It's like if I want to have my table topics first, I will, just because the agenda says that I have to have it second, doesn't mean I have to have it second. And if I want to have my evaluators directly after my speakers, that's kind of up to the Toastmaster. Yeah, we follow a routine. But I mean, if you want it different, people shouldn't be yelling at you about it.
Well, I appreciate that insight. And you can see by kind of reviewing some of these styles how they tend to balance each other and their value when you look at the totality of the team. And I think it's just as important to recognize where the team might be somewhat deficient. If you have a team, for example, that doesn't include any of the expressive style, you're going to be missing out on opportunities, because it's the way the four styles work together that make a team that is dynamic, that's diverse, and that is moving your team forward. I want to go back just a minute. I'm going to go back up here, so I'll try and go. It's too slow because I know scrolling on screen is, I'm not going to go over all of these questions. There are just too many. There's like 20, but I want to show our viewers what this looks like and how it works. When you get a booklet like this, it's going to explain to you how to do the self-test to see if what style is your predominant style. And as I said, nobody is going to score 100% on one style. So you're going to have questions like this, and if you self-score. So a 4 is most like me, a 3 is a lot like me, a 2 is somewhat, and a 1 is least. So you're going to have questions like this one here. On a typical day, I tend to be what? Calm, patient, cooperative, persuasive, talkative and outgoing, determined, confident and decisive, or organized, consistent and precise. So in this example, you can see that the person responding considered that their best, the statement that best reflected them. The determined statement was less so, calm was less so, and persuasive, talkative and outgoing the least. At the end of, as I said, there are about 20, and this does an automatic score for you. So you can see this is the actual assessment that you take. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom, and it's all automatic. Once you put numbers in there, it begins to add up for you. And let me get down here to the bottom line. Okay, there we go. So this is where, if you use this workbook, it automatically adds up. How many points did you get? Analytical, driver, expressive, and amiable. They must add up to 120, or you did something wrong, you skipped something. And this will define how you scored on the test and give you the insight into your work style. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing there. We are getting close on time. Any final thoughts? Do you think, Phyllis, this is helpful for building teams, everything from your club office or your executive committee all the way up? We used it, by the way, where I got this was from our trio training. So all of the trio took this analysis and then discussed in a breakout how this helps us to understand each other and to work together. What's your perspective now that you've gone through at least the workbook? Do you think it's helpful, or is it a waste of time?
No, I think it is helpful. And I would suggest that anyone that would like to do the book or even present this at their club, contact Ken.
Absolutely.
Most willingly will send you this booklet, which you can use as a PowerPoint or print. But
exactly.
Do it and see. Are you the person you think you are? Do you have the style that you think is most likely for you to contribute to? Or are you kind of in the middle about everything?
Yeah, and does your style enhance or impede your team's ability to accomplish their goals? Well, we're almost out of time. I do want to thank you. Well, we are actually at 6:30. Another great session. Thank you so much, Phyllis. It's always a pleasure to see you. If you want to be on the show, or if you do want a copy of this assessment mechanism, shoot me an email at d115cgd@gmail.com. Want to remind everyone that we are still, the District Leadership Committee is still soliciting potential district leaders. In fact, next Tuesday, Phyllis and I are going to focus on those leadership roles. We're going to talk, we've done a little bit of this in the past, but we're going to really focus on the area director, the division director, and we're going to compare some of the elected positions and the appointed positions. So it'll be an opportunity for you to look into district leadership and decide if that's the right path for you, no pun intended there. And hopefully we'll encourage you to, some of our viewers and listeners, to step outside of their comfort zone and take up the challenge to become a district leader. Anything before we wrap up here, Phyllis?
Absolutely. The first thing you do when you become a leader is to get a mentor. So you are never alone in your leadership. There's always someone that's been there before that's more than willing to help. If they've got DTM on their name, they've probably been there. And DTM means dedicated to mentoring. So ask for help. Don't go it alone.
Wise words that we should all take to heart. Thank you, Phyllis. I'll see you again on Tuesday, but remind our viewers that Wake Up with Toastmasters is live streamed on Facebook 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And tomorrow, your host and co-host will be Program Quality Director Jean Williams, and Jean Dunford, her sidekick or partner in crime, that will be on the show. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you back here on Tuesday. Bye-bye, everyone.